Another Positive Views production. Well, welcome to another edition of Top of the Bay podcast. We have Jim Griner here, a local musician, and we got...
Hello, Greg.
Hello, everybody. Jim. And we got Leroy Hoornbeck here.
Hey.
And we are going to feature the local musician Jim Griner today. He is a local musician, but he's known worldwide in some ways. And Jim, what do you want to say?
Hi, everybody. This is a good place. Volume and all that good stuff. Cool. Hi, I'm Jim Griner, and my company's Hands-On Drumming Events, and I'm a rhythmist. I do drumming and grooving, and I do it for whoever will have me, basically, fundamentally, and have for a long time.
Well, people,
over 50 years.
All over this town for sure.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. I got
Jim,
to Santa Cruz in the mid-'70s, and I was driving back from a 2-year gig in Colorado, playing in a band, did the ski resort circuit, stopped off in L.A., did a quick couple of sessions, and then was heading up to San Francisco, where I was born and raised, to get my stuff out of storage. Stopped off in Santa Cruz to have lunch, because I used to come down here when I was in the city and when we were teenagers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, some of those people. And then I happened to be on Front Street and saw the old Catalyst, the original Catalyst. I thought,
Wait,
that looks pretty cool.
Wait, the Catalyst was on Front Street?
The Catalyst was on Front Street, the original Catalyst.
So I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, the old Catalyst. Yeah, where the Palomar is now, where that... the part where the Palomar Hotel and the restaurant where they have the glass dome kind of place.
Oh, cool.
And so I stopped in and looked around. I saw these really cool people. Like there was a couple of them making out, a guy and a gal making out back in the one corner, dark corner. Another thing looked like a drug deal. So it probably was a drug deal of some sort. And then a couple people just jamming little acoustic guitars, and I thought, man, this place is cool. And then they had all this really cool stuff hanging from the ceiling, and it was. I thought, really, literally thought to myself, well, I'm home.
I know you're feeling.
What year was that, Jim?
74.
74. Okay.
And that was about 3 lifetimes ago, and I had a couple lifetimes before that. So,
Jim, can you give us a quick list of basically different things you're involved in right now?
yes, right now I do drumming and interactive rhythm sessions for corporate team building, and my fundamental themes are communicating, collaborating, and celebrating through rhythm. And I get people drumming together by showing them the fundamentals of rhythm. The pulse, the upbeat, and adding different sounds around the pulse. And every new fundamental of rhythm includes the fundamental of communicating, collaborating, and or celebrating. Then I also teach one-on-one and small groups, and I will always teach. I love teaching.
Yep, I'm a teacher. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
You taught classes for me, Jim.
Yeah, that's right. I did. That was a ball, man. Those kids were cool.
So you teach a lot of groups, Jim, and can I use the word drum circle?
Yeah, if you really gotta.
Do you do a lot of drum circle? Did you do drum circle?
I'll back up a little bit.
Okay.
After I, got out of Dodge in San Francisco when I was 18, that's a story. That's another lifetime. And then I ended up in Africa and spent 2 years in Africa traveling, drumming, hitchhiking in truck caravans and just having a ball. Then 9 months in Europe. Then I came back to the States. A lot more things going on. But then I ended up teaching classes and because I missed community drumming in Africa. I missed that drumming for hours and hours and hours and hours, and people playing parts and listening to each other and having fun and just going down, getting into the groove. Then I came back, and the drum circle thing was really hot and heavy, and I love the energy, I love the heart, I love the people getting together, but I just got really frustrated that people would not play parts. They just kind of did
It all
drumming.
falls to just the basic beat.
Right,
at some
what
point.
some people call hippie thunder drumming.
Oh, I haven't heard the term.
Oh,
Yeah,
see, there you are.
That's a cool term.
It is a cool term, and it really
Hippie thunder
aptly describes what went on. So I taught classes so I'd have people who knew parts that I could play with, because I missed community drumming from Africa. And then one time in the early 80s, a fella came up to me and said, "I love what you do about the drumming. It's more than just drumming. It is truly community." He said, "We should do this in our office. We're so stressed out. We don't communicate well. We hardly barely get along with each other sometimes." And so I said, "Sure, let's do it." And then I gave myself 3 months to research the corporate world, because I had pretty much actively avoided the corporate world my whole life as a musician.
True.
And then I came to terms with it and embraced it and thought, well, bottom line, they deserve to drum.
Fair.
They're good people doing the
deserve
best
drumming.
they can. They deserve to
They
drum.
deserve music.
They deserve music. Right on, man. They deserve music, and to integrate with each other musically and rhythmically.
Speaking
Did
of
that
that,
answer your question?
I got another one because
sure.
you and Rick do music together. You're doing some music, so why don't we
Okay.
talk about that?
Certainly.
And Rick, you can maybe ask him some about that.
Or Rick,
What's your group?
tell me about it. You
Well,
started it.
Jim and I have played with the TV show. I guess was our main group now for a few years. We've kind of been on a hiatus in the last during the COVID era, but but we've spent many an hour playing music together.
God, yeah.
And it's just like it's a joy. Just what you were talking about, Jim. Just finding your part and being part of that groove, and just sitting in that pocket, and there's nothing like that. People who don't know music don't know that feeling,
So Rick's a bass player, if you guys don't know this, and Jim is, I would call you a percussionist, but
Yes.
unless you want to be called something else.
No,
Rhythmist.
percussionist
So
is
bass player,
an honor.
percussionist, and the relationship is, they're both in the groove. They're both, the groove is super important to what they both do. And you guys have a saying. What's your saying, Jim?
Oh, my
about the
saying?
groove.
Serve the groove.
Serve the groove.
Serve the groove
Rick
in 2 ways.
feels the
Oh,
same way.
The groove is all knowing if you only listen to it.
Yeah, I tell you. That's the truth, bro. That's the truth, man.
Is that what you say,
All
Jim?
knowing.
What do you say?
Oh, it's serve the groove in 2 ways. First of all, be in service to the groove. Everything I do, hopefully, ideally, intentionally, is strengthening the groove, is coming up from the groove, which is that transcendent, powerful, alert state that athletes call the zone. It's the flow state, effortless mastery. It's that place we get into where we humans are at our best. And then to serve the groove, everything I do ideally comes from the groove and strengthens the groove. And then in the second way to serve the groove is to serve the groove up to people, to serve it up, to create a rhythmic foundation that's so dependable that they can let go of hesitation and fear and what if, and I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't can't do this, I've never done all the chatter.
Yeah.
And just get down.
Kind of makes them. It can be as simple as seeing somebody at the table tapping their foot and banging their hand on the desk.
Exactly,
And
man. Right, precisely. You see it, it's like, oh,
Yeah, so it's just
They're
like
getting it.
you can tell they're getting it, whether they are aware of it or not. A lot of times it's just such an involuntary thing. And for me, it is. Music will be happening, you'll be talking with somebody, and then the foot starts tapping, and next thing you know,
exactly. Precisely, man.
the groove sucks you in. It's just like
And it's that place that we humans are hardwired to have to get to. The zone, the groove. It's part of our metabolism. It's part of our anthropology, our biology, our chemistry. when we get into the groove, the serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good chemicals get released, and the cortisone, the sad depression, what if, and I can't do this chemical gets suppressed. And it's what makes us survive as human beings in all these different environments around the globe.
The dancers dance, and the singers sing, and the players play, and we all got to do it.
And we all got to do it, man.
Hey, so I'm curious about this. So it's a two-part question, but you can answer it probably all in one. And it's what made you want to become a musician, but it's also, did you play in high school? Did you play anything like in school?
Good question, man, and they're of course intertwined. No, I didn't always want to be a musician, but I knew from, 10 years old that I was fascinated by the way people interact, the history, the cultural anthropology, the physical anthropology, and the mythology of human beings. How do people get together? Just, who knows why, it just grabbed me. And then I grew up in a really good, solid Irish Catholic, thing. I have 4 brothers, so there was 5 guys. My dad, who was like the macho dude, and my mom, who was just take charge, done it with everything. He had the German, she had the Irish. And anyway, so I wanted to play drums. I played football and wrestling, so after football, I'd go over to my buddy's house, and we'd bang the heck out of his drum set, and I just loved that. Then in San Francisco, I'd take the bus to the Mission District and just sit for hours and soak up the Latino guys, the older Latino guys, playing conga drums. And I was fascinated by their interaction and about the way everything just fit together. And again, not knowing what it was or anything about it, I felt the groove. I felt like this is it.
What a cool experience as a kid.
Exactly,
that,
man. And that's
So
the time when that was a long time ago when you can take a bus, at 11 years old and go to the Mission District and just be accepted. So anyway, so I talked to my dad about getting the drum set, and he said, absolutely not. That was not quite, I don't know what, macho enough or something for him. And that was cool. And so I said, the next best thing, I said, well, I want a speed bag then. He said, yeah, I'll get you a speed bag. So I literally, for 3 years, I worked out for hours a day on the speed bag. And I didn't know anything
that was your
about
drum?
Anything. That was my drum, man.
That's
then
so
when
cool.
I got to Africa, I hadn't played in a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, I was in front of a drum, and it just flowed. I had a whole lot to learn. But it was like, oh, yeah, this is me, Jim Griner. I found you.
Yeah. You had to go to Africa to find yourself.
Yeah, I guess. For some German-Irish kid,
That's amazing. Hey, that's part of what you are, though, a little bit worldwide.
Well, I come from an Irish mother too. My mother was very, very, very Irish Catholic, and she was the musical influence in my life, but what was I going to say? I wish that I had known more about the Irish and the Celtic music and rhythms that were going on there. They had some interesting drums too, those big rim drums and what they play. That gets I guess it's the same in every culture pretty much, the drum, and how it brings people together,
Yeah, you're right, Rick. Yeah.
For whatever, just a celebration or a condemnation or or whatever,
Right.
a dirge for funerals and stuff. There's all different rhythms that take you in, take you out,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Take you in, take you out. Because it is, a life thing. It's a life journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those different rhythms. And the cool thing about rhythm is that the fundamentals of rhythm are universal. And the effect that they have on us as human beings is universal. So you do a simple pulse. That's going to make people want to walk. Go to on the hunt, or they go to the whatever they're doing. Gather around the fire at the end of the day and just hit things and shake things and use our voices and move our bodies. That's something that's universal. We are hardwired to have those things. The hardwiring is universal. So if I do that pulse, it's going to get people moving. It doesn't matter if it's an Inuit from the Arctic Circle or a Shona from Southeast Africa. It's going to make you want to move and propel yourself forward. Then you add an upbeat and it gives it that uplifting kind of feel. And then there's different rhythm fundamentals that give people particular feelings that are universal. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was wondering if when you do you like to, when you're teaching, do you use like a different set of instruments than when you're performing, or is it more one and the same?
If somebody wants to learn congas, then we'll do congas. Somebody wants to do djembe, we'll do djembe. Somebody wants to do shekere, we'll do shekere, or bongo, or cowbell, or tambourine. Got a lot of vocalists and horn players who want tambourine lessons, or a lesson or two, which is really all they need, because they're proficient musicians, and they just need to connect with that groove part of what it is they already know.
Well, I happen to know that you have some pretty good skills on the tambourine, and not everybody actually has your skills on the tambourine. You have
great.
some tricks.
Yeah, tambourine is like any shaker, and I love shakers.
Well, I was going to ask, what's your favorite instrument to play?
Favorite, other than hand drum, it would be the shekere. In Cuba, they call it chekere, and there's different words for it depending on the part of Africa you're from.
When you say other than hand drum, what's the hand drum that you want to play?
It varies between conga and djembe.
Uh-huh.
The conga, the Afro-Cuban barrel drum, which I love because I love to play it not only in Afro-Cuban music, but in popular music, funk, New Orleans, second line.
We played funk together.
White chocolate funk.
White chocolate funk.
Yeah. And the djembe, because it's a versatile instrument, and it really
Fat,
cuts.
but it's snappy.
Precisely, it has that snap to it. I did a gig recently with a wonderful singer-songwriter named Monroe, who just happened to be married to
Hey, Lauren.
Rick Allen. Hi, Lauren. Rick Allen, the drummer for Def Leppard. And so he was the drummer in the band. And she's just an amazing singer-songwriter.
How
and
cool.
I played a single conga tuned up high to what's called the quinto range, Quinto, and then a djembe that I had tuned up high but a fourth below the conga. And that's what I played pretty much, those two drums together, because it's just, the music told me that's what needed to happen.
All right. So the music informs it. Can you tell me about the shekere?
Yes, the shekere is originally from West Africa, where it has different names. It's a gourd with a web or a net of beads or shells around it. Modern shekeres are still mostly gourds with plastic beads around it. And I love the shekere. The first time I started playing it, just fell in love with it. And to the point where I actually have an instrument I designed, this James Griner Pro Shekere model by a company called LP, Latin Percussion, which is a renowned percussion manufacturer. And this is a modeled after a gourd that I handpicked and cut and cleaned, sent to LP. They did a computer mock-up and a computer-assisted design thing going on. And so they made a mold.
High-tech.
High-tech.
Yeah.
It's a meeting of the old and the new. And then so they do the shell out of fiberglass on the mold, and it's a white shell, and then these special beads that we designed to give it the right sound, blue and yellow beads.
I can picture it. I can totally imagine it right now, the way you described it.
Yeah, right.
I'm also looking right at it.
Also looking. I know. I walked in here tonight and said, "Oh man, I should have brought a shaker." And then I looked to my left, and there it was, the LP Jim Griner shaker. Way to go, Greg.
It happened for a reason.
Exactly, man.
Well, I love all the percussion instruments that you use. You just happen to, everyone has a little unique sound or different feel to it, and it's just, when you play the congas, it's just like, I don't know, I'm there, it's like, it's like, even with Fuzzy, when we play with Fuzzy, we just have a thing, you know.
Yeah,
it's
just
like,
have it.
Yeah, it's too
things
bad
out.
Fuzzy isn't here to talk about Jim too,
Yeah.
because the two of them, Fuzzy's a drummer and Jim is a percussionist, and the two of them really, I don't know if the word syncopate's right, but they really just hook up right together.
Synchronize.
They synchronize well
Yeah.
together.
You got to synchronize.
But in other words, it's just wonderful, the two of them playing together. And
Oh.
it's better than
Thank you, man.
the sum of its parts or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Better together.
And we're talking about Fuzzy John Oxendine.
Yeah.
And then it's just, he's just another rhythm, sibling. And,
Wait, you're in a band with him right now, right?
oh, yeah.
And Rick is too, so why don't you
What a
guys talk?
coincidence.
What's that band called again? What's your band?
It's the T-Bone Mojo band. I
T-Bone
guess.
Mojo?
See, that's who we're playing with
Okay,
recently.
T-Bone Mojo.
Toby, with Toby
Toby
Gray.
Gray,
Uh-huh.
And then another band called the TV
the TV show.
Show. With T.J. Pollitzer on guitar,
The
Vinnie
T.
Johnson on guitar,
The V.
the V,
Yeah.
Fuzzy
All right.
John and Rick and myself. And it's a cool band.
What
I mean,
kind
they're
of
all
stuff?
cool.
What kind of stuff does TV show do? What kind of music?
How'd you describe it, Rick?
It's pretty eclectic, I would say. You know,
I think it's
we
kind of like rock
we do
and
quite
roll.
a few, quite a few,
It's
quite a
rock
few
and roll.
original songs that
Yeah.
that vary from bluesy to reggae-ish kind of, funky kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Even a little some ballady kind of things. Old soul music. I was listening to one of the songs that we did today, an old Ike Turner song called
What's the song called?
I Idolize You. I Idolize You. It's just got a really nice groove to
Well,
it.
we
It's
could
just-
cut it into the podcast so our listeners can hear it. They're going to hear a little bit of Idolize You right
Well, it
now.
was on
There you
the,
are, man.
I think you have it.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
have
on
you
that-
guys doing
It's
it.
on that snippet of the TV show that you have on SoundCloud, I believe.
That's right. Let me see if I can.
I was just going to say, yeah, you guys, Rick and Greg, set up a SoundCloud thing, a TV show fan SoundCloud, I guess. That's very cool, man. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
Facebook page.
Yeah, we got a Facebook page
Yeah.
now for the TV show
Yeah, thank you.
fans.
Thank you, by the way.
You're
Greg.
welcome.
It's cool.
I think it's totally cool. And I'm always hoping, it's easier because I am a fan, so I can help run the fan club a lot better than I can my own bands where I can't be a fan of my own bands. I got to let other people do that.
Right. There you go, man. We have different point of view, too.
Yeah.
So, should we keep talking? You're programming.
Oh, I'm not.
Are you programming?
I'm just looking no.
Okay.
We should take a break, I think. We're going to take our
Cool.
first little break. We're going to come back and we'll have part 2 with Jim Griner, with Rick, Leroy, Hoornbeck, with Greg Brown. We'll be right back.
I was just going to say,
Yeah, when Jim was saying all the righteous reasons why he started music, I was thinking a bunch of us started so we could get girls. Or we thought there'd be girls there when we
Right.
played.
right.
I think girls is a
And they were.
formula. And they were.
Hey,
Man,
at that age,
that's
girls
right.
was pretty much driving a lot of what went on.
Exactly. That is true.
That time was either sports
Uh-huh.
or
That's what I
something
did. I
else.
did football and wrestling, and then
Even if it was still girls.
Yeah.
Either
Oh, yeah.
any of the occupations had the preoccupation.
They wouldn't let me play football and none of that. Because my hair was too long and stuff, they didn't want that. And they wouldn't let me take music lessons in high school.
really,
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
you had long hair.
Because I wasn't like a great student, and they considered that like an elective kind of a thing,
You'd be lucky
You know,
to
you're,
take music.
that was
right.
that was an extra thing that you could take part
You
in
need
if you
double
did
math.
well in your other classes.
Right, yeah, but you had to do the
Yeah.
basics.
And I had a really, I don't know, I'm bad with authority.
So what got you into music, Rick? How did you, what really got you into it?
Well, as long as I can remember, I I hear these songs in my head that I've known for years, and they're just in there, and when I was a young lad, one of my best friend had his older sister that, then they would all be dancing to the new rock and roll and stuff that was coming out in the late 50s, early 60s. And so I was exposed to it. Like, they would go every Thursday night and buy the top 10 45s, the singles and stuff that came out, and there was, my friend was, for years, I mean, he would keep notebooks of the top 40 for every week.
Whoa. I never thought about that they bought every single.
Yeah, every
Like, you
top
think you'd
10
just go
single.
buy a single, but buy the whole top 10.
That's what drove the
And that-
music business
yeah.
back then, 45s.
And then their mother was just a little short woman from Brooklyn. She was probably 4'11" or something like that. Very, very short,
Really
and just tough as nails. Real thick Brooklyn accent. And she was just tough. She was a pisser.
Yeah.
To coin one of her phrases, a pisser.
So this is how you started music?
So that's how I got exposed to it. Exposed to it, and then when you started hearing, when I heard like Buddy Holly, like that, it's just like, hey, this doesn't sound, I mean,
It's cool.
It made it like anybody could do it or something, It's just
Okay,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
something like that. So I got the bug pretty early, and then of course when the Beatles came out and the whole English invasion thing, with everything just busted loose. 'Cause it showed you that, you and your friends can get some guitars and drums, and you're listening to them girls scream,
Get yourself a Ludwig drum set like Ringo.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like what John Lennon said. He's walking by the movie theater, and it was an Elvis Presley movie theater, and there was a line full of women, and he said, "That looks like a pretty good job."
Well, when I first got interested in it, I wanted to play the bass. I really liked the bass, and the Fender bass just spoke to me when I looked at one. That feeling you got
Oh,
when
yeah.
you saw this
yeah.
nice instrument that you couldn't have.
I know, Rick,
Well, it's the
not to
newest-
interrupt, but you are such a bass player, brother.
Well,
I love it, man.
Well, what happened was,
That was like a new instrument.
yeah. Well,
That
one of my
instrument, you
one of
know.
my other friends got a bass,
Okay.
so I didn't get a bass. So I picked up the guitar, So I started playing guitar, and I did fine with that, But I was always, and then a few years later, after I played guitar for a while, I wanted to play bass, So I got a bass, and I started teaching myself how to work it, and
I'm really glad you did.
I just always
really
thought,
glad you did.
yeah, because a lot of there was a lot of crappy bass players back then.
Oh, yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
figured I could do it.
What kind of music were you playing bass to? What song? What 45s?
Well, it's funny because another friend of mine who was a very good bass player, his father was Donato Saraceno, and it's Italian, just thick Italian, and they played Italian music, and he played the big Cordavox accordion thing, and vibes and stuff, and mandolin, and sang, yeah, lazy Mary, gotta get up, it's for the table.
Cool stuff,
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So he didn't want his sons to play any rock and roll. He considered that was not legit music.
The devil's
It was not legit, And, he was like a union member and everything, and they had a steady gig at this,
You'll rot your mind, kid.
at this place where they would have bar mitzvahs and anniversaries and weddings and stuff. So when I first started getting into bass again, his son, who was a good bass player, kind of showed me some stuff, doing a basic blues progression or whatever, and some different things. And so his dad would hire me when the son wasn't able to do it. He started hiring me to come down and play bass with him, And all I needed was a black coat, a white shirt, and a bow tie,
Wow.
But this was like, 71, 72, something like that, I was
Wow.
you know,
I can picture
18,
it.
18, 19 years old.
can picture
East Coast.
I know what
East
those
Coast.
suits look
Yeah.
like. I know what those suits look like.
And I
Skinny tie.
was making $150 a gig at
Wow.
time. At that time, you know, it's like
sad
That's
to
a lot of
say,
money.
But you know, the young people today playing in clubs.
We don't make that
locally,
much.
Don't make
Yeah.
that much.
No.
no.
I remember, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So,
Finish your story.
Anyway,
Hey,
that's-
Rick, wait. Say the thing you always said about made $50 then.
what's that? Like,
You used to say, in the 70s, I made $50 a gig.
Yeah.
I still make $50 a gig.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
back in the early '80s, you make 50, $100 a gig. $100 is a good gig.
Yeah.
$100 is fine.
But I was renting a 2-bedroom house with a garage
Yeah.
for my drum room for $350 a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Different times.
Yeah.
Different times, man. So the young people today, man, just hang in there, do what you got to do, but just play. There's no substitution for just playing.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy for me to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rick. Go ahead, bro.
No.
Okay, I got something I wanted to ask you guys. So,
Sure.
like, a lot of this is super fun. Like, I've been on the road with you guys a little bit here and there, but I was thinking, is there one thing that stands out for any of you of, like, this one was really bad? Like, this, this didn't work out. Like, any stories like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have to tell those stories?
Well, I got one that
go ahead.
I think Rick was part of, and I don't remember if you were part of this, Jim, but can I tell the Oakland story?
Sure.
Yeah, I wasn't part of it.
So I'll tell you this story, Jim.
Cool.
And,
I was.
this is the Oakland story, and no offense to anybody, especially you, Jason. I love you, and I'm just going to tell the story the way it was because that's the way to do it. So Jason set up this gig in the city after Widespread Panic was going to play, and he knows a lot of Widespread Panic fans, so he figured they'd come a couple blocks to come see us. Which
Well, he went down. He went down before the show or after the
Yeah.
show. Started handing out flyers and stuff.
right.
To all the people that were coming out of the show.
So we set this whole thing up, and we come up from Santa Cruz to Oakland, which we don't do that often. Like, we don't care. We play in Santa Cruz, you know. Why am I going to Oakland? So he said it would be
$50.
right. So he said, well, actually, he said it'd be worth our while because
Yeah.
for one thing, we were playing in more than one band. And he had 4 bands playing, I think, and I was playing in Variant Soul and White Chocolate, and I was going to be double dipping, and this is going to be a good gig. And Jason was, it's kind of funny when you
Yeah,
look
it's
back
funny
at
when
it,
you
right?
look back at it, yeah.
So we get there, and it's this really like punk, like crap ass club. It's really bad. Like, it's not like class at all. It's in fact, there's bands there right now playing in the afternoon when we arrive. And the bands are like, it's like a noise fest of like, how fucking noisy can we sound? And the band that was right before us, I swear to God, that was actually the goal, was noise. It was just each person there making noise. And okay, so
I remember walking in and thinking, now this was 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe now.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. You know, I've been
Right.
around the block a few times, but
Totally.
But I remember walking into this place and just looking around and looking at Fuzzy and saying, "This is a shithole."
and it was.
And it was, you
Been
know.
there, done that.
Yeah. You just know when it, you know what it is when you see it, Jim. You know.
But that's not the issue. That's
No, that
story
definitely.
gets better
I've,
than this.
I've played in a lot of
more.
cool shitholes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we get there and we notice it's a shithole, and there's other people playing, and we're waiting our time because we're here, we're committed, we're going to do this for sure. In fact, I went down with Jason, and we're handing out flyers at Widespread Panic down the block, and then we come back and we do our shows, and honestly, we're playing good. We're playing really good. The whole show is going really well. And White Chocolate gets on, and it seems like about after
The
6...
place is packed.
The place is all of a sudden packed.
The place is all of a sudden packed.
Yeah, because Jason's friends did show up from this gig, and so it was kind of looking bleak at first, but we're playing good, but it wasn't
After
great.
the show, yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of people, and White Chocolate's playing, and it's going good, and the guy tells us we got to cut. And Jason gets mad, like, why do we got to cut? My friends just got here. And by the way, you know, Widespread Panic, they're all kind of buzzed. Everybody's buzzed, right? And they're ready for an evening,
Right.
and we're cutting it off. So Jason stands up for everybody in this way by getting pissed at the owner, but he tells us we got to stop. So some things ensue, and what ensues is, as I recall it, was something along these lines that all of a sudden the fans were all kind of kicked outside. We were kind of hanging outside with everybody, like wondering what's going on.
This was after me and Fuzzy left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Fuzzy,
Jim-
right? You
Yeah, go
guys
ahead.
started playing. You did a few songs, and me and Fuzzy said, "Let's go home." You know. 'Cause-
Okay, so they missed out on this. So this is
Yeah,
kind of
so
nice
the-
for these guys.
yeah.
So they leave thinking it's, whatever it was whatever gig. So anyway, we're playing to a really good crowd, and now all of a sudden we're all outside, and the crowd's wondering what the hell is going on, and the mood has turned dark.
Yeah.
And Jason has decided that this guy has ripped him off, and the guy has offered up $200 for the whole night to Jason. And Jason, this was supposed to be a big payoff for everybody. So Jason's all
Well, they had a
embarrassed.
guy collecting money at the door, right? And all through
Yep.
our set,
When we
with
started,
Variant Soul,
certainly
he's
collecting
collecting
money.
money. The band right before us was what's his name's band,
I don't remember.
the drummer from White Chocolate,
Oh, okay, yeah.
his other band.
Jason.
Yeah,
Not Jason.
Spencer? No, that's a different version.
Logan.
I'm sorry.
Logan, yeah.
Logan. So anyway, when it got to be like 11 o'clock or 11:30, when White Chocolate was starting to play, they stopped collecting money at the door.
Yeah.
That's when they stopped. That's when
So
they
this
stopped.
is what
And-
the owner explains to Jason.
Yeah, and that
we
was
stopped
in-
collecting money. He
and that was
says,
in the contract and everything. So it was like,
so Jason's like, wait, all my friends were coming. They all would have paid $5 each to get in, and we have all these people, and we needed to get paid. So there was two different things going on.
Right.
But Jason got mad, and he thought the guy was going for his gun. So Jason lunged at the owner.
Oh, man.
didn't he throw a bar stool across the
He
thing?
threw some chairs first. He lunged at the owner and grabbed him, and then the security guard grabs Jason to pull him off. But then Logan goes in to pull the security guard off Jason. I am backing myself out into the street because I have to tell you, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm gonna do us no good in here. We're in Oakland. Okay, this
Yeah.
is another side story I gotta tell you. So while we're standing outside, there's this guy who is screaming very loudly that he just got out of jail and to stay the fuck out of my way because if any of you get in my way, I'm ready to go back to jail. And then this all ensues, and I'm thinking, my guitar player Jason's more dangerous than this guy in Oakland. Like we're in the most
Yeah,
dangerous
right.
situation. Jason has a belt knife and he pulls his belt knife, and this whole thing goes like south. And at the same time, Korn, the bass player, talks to the owner and gets the like $200 that he's offering because something's better than nothing.
Right.
But I'm thinking the whole time, Jason's my ride home.
Right.
I'm so glad he didn't get arrested for one thing. 'Cause I
That
would
could
have
have
had
so easily happened.
that could have happened.
So easily happened.
That
yeah.
almost could have happened. And then he did drive home, and he was fuming, and I'm sure he was embarrassed because he was trying to stoke everybody, but we were just lucky to get out of there without being arrested. Anyway, that's my story of one bad evening at a gig.
Wow. That's a good one. That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this? A place that we played, but the food wasn't good.
Oh.
You don't have to name the place, but is there like anything you remember like is so bad?
Where do I start?
Yeah.
I played for a couple of years. I lived in Boulder, Colorado, because growing up in San Francisco, I always wanted to experience the snow. So I went to Boulder. I got an offer when I was in Boise, Idaho, from a guy who was putting together a band to do the ski resort circuit. He says, "I like the way you play, et cetera, et cetera. Come to Boulder and you'll be in our band." So I went to Boulder and then was in the band, practiced for a few months, and then we did ski resort circuit. And so then I don't even remember where I'm going with this, man.
You're telling us about the ski resort band.
We did the ski resort circuit. It was very cool. Very, 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 very cool. The bass player's brother had a cabin up in the high country at about
we were talking about bad meals.
10,500 feet.
We were talking about meals.
Thank you. Anyway, so between the ski resorts, which was this whole other, hoity-toity kind of thing, we did a lot of biker bars. And so I was playing a lot of biker bars, which was cool. The cool thing about biker bars is that generally they don't mess with the musicians because they want live music. If they mess with the musician, they do their biker macho thing with the musicians. Boom, musicians are history, man.
Yeah.
They won't have any live music.
Yeah.
So I did this gig, and the cool thing about the bikers I learned right away was that when you get to the gig, they want to help carry your stuff in. Yes. Absolutely.
Let them. That's what you
Let
learned.
them.
Yes.
At the end of the gig, after they've been drinking, no thanks, bro. I
I
have a way of packing things. That,
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it because it'll be like 2 amps under each arm, and then just drop it down.
Oh my goodness.
But
Oh my God.
anyway, so a lot of the biker bars I played had some pretty funky food, man.
Yeah.
Pretty funky food, but I ate it. I loved it. I
Right on.
survived.
Yeah,
Put me in
yeah.
the mood.
I played a lot of biker functions and bars like that too over the years. It's kind of the same type of thing as the Catskills in New York. So we'd be playing like the different resorts and stuff up, where you had to go in through the kitchen. Went in through the kitchen. You didn't talk to any guests, and you ate in the kitchen with the help.
Right.
And so, like that. But the bikers, that's just the opposite. I played at this one big biker bash one time, and they were roasting a side of beef. I had this thing just cooking all day, turn around. It was so good. It was so good. Some of the best food I've had at a gig like that.
there you
Yeah,
go,
it was
man.
just like really tender and
That's tribal and primal.
yeah. I try to forget the bad food that I've had.
Right, yeah.
A local place that we work at sometimes isn't very impressive for me.
That you and I work at?
Yeah, that we worked at a couple Wednesdays ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to be a restaurant
It's
these days.
okay, but it wasn't great.
All right, I got another question for you guys. I want to know what's your favorite place to play? What's the favorite place you ever played?
Oh, man. Rick?
Jeez, that's a tough one.
I really dig your stories about the Catskills and upstate New York. It's just like such a rich musical
It really
fertile
is.
ground.
It really is.
Like the band came from there. And,
They had a few
Dylan.
really
Dylan,
nice places.
yeah.
I grew up in this town that was like the heyday of the town was probably the 1890s or something. When the town was really producing. They had a lot of factories and stuff there making knives.
what town was that?
It's a little town called Walden, New
Right.
York. Walden, New York, which is right in the foothills of the Catskill Mountains.
That sounds all romantic.
But there was
Walden and the Catskill
like
Mountains.
a lot of little towns had these old little theaters. Like where the vaudeville people used to be, or the operas. My little town had a little opera house. And it was a nice little place. Had a balcony and a big stage. And in the later years they turned it into a movie theater. But there was a lot of little towns that had beautiful little old theaters like that, and we used to play at a few of those. They would have concerts and whatnot.
That was the best place.
Yeah, there was one place in particular that I really liked was called the Last Chance Saloon. It was in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, Poughkeepsie, and it was like an 1890s
There since the
opera house
1890s.
kind of, a vaudeville theater, kind of a thing. And they were great. Had a lot of good shows there. It was just like really nice acoustics in there for, it was a really cool place.
Yeah, because they were set up so that in the vaudeville, did they have microphones?
No.
So was this set up so that you can project from the
Yeah.
stage and be heard?
Yeah, they were like opera house people come in
Right.
and sing, and do their,
Yeah.
Well, what's it like to play music in Santa Cruz? You guys both played other places, but what's different about Santa Cruz playing here?
Wow, good question, man. It's same in a lot of ways. You know, you play at a little club and you get your people and you get people on the dance floor and you have fun and you groove and
People have fun all over.
Yeah.
people have fun all over. You know, it's a different vibe, definitely.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, there's so much different music going here too. You know.
Good point.
I know in the last few years, it seems like a lot of the classic rock cover bands have been really taking over some of the places we used to play and stuff. And I don't know if I'm just getting old or what. You know.
Everything's
Bands
turned
out there
classic.
like,
Yeah, some of them are really
Locomotive
good. Yeah.
And Fuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're really good. Do you remember Harry and the Hitmen? Did you ever see them? They were really good. Did all the Motown stuff and
And Greg's band, the Village Green.
yeah.
Well, it's
doing the
yeah.
Kink stuff.
and Rick's in that band, and Jim, you're on the records.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on the record.
You're on the record.
He's one of those cats you see in the mugshot with the numbers underneath my chin. Anyway.
I still like
Yeah, that was
recording
fun playing with the Village Green stuff.
That's been a fun project all the way around.
The Village Green, for those of you who don't know, is a tribute to the Kinks, and it's a band I learned to love early on, and I just gathered all my friends into this group, and it's excellent. It's so fun to play the Kinks. It's because in some ways it's easy, in some ways it's challenging, but for the most part, it's always just wonderful to play those tunes. And my friends, we've all figured a way we can do it, and it's really gratifying to do it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, and that stuff rocks, man.
Yeah, it's just
Kinks were
amazing.
rocking. Yeah.
Amazing how many songs. I think today was Mick Avery's birthday, actually.
78, is that what I
Something
saw?
like that. Was it yesterday or today? He was the drummer for the Kinks, the original.
Yeah,
He's
right.
still alive, still
78,
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's the 60s, man. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
It is a long time ago. But, you know, they started a lot of the rock. I mean, You Really Got Me, All Day, All Night. And Lola, I mean, we could play Lola 4 times during the show and people would be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah. But they have so many other good songs too, so
Yeah, it's hard.
it's in different styles.
Well,
even.
John always points out, like, he'll say, Greg, how many songs do the Kinks have? And it's well over 600.
Really?
Yeah, the
John
number is
Michael, the
astounding.
vocalist. Yeah.
John Michael's the vocalist. He couldn't make it tonight, but he's sometimes part of this podcast,
Oh,
too.
John Michael is amazing, man. He does everything from Sinatra to
Led
opera
Zeppelin,
arias
To Zeppelin,
to Zepp.
to
Yeah, he's amazing, man.
the Kinks.
To
the
Kinks,
Kinks,
right?
yeah.
He sings the Kinks.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They have that Van Halen show they're doing, like a Van Halen tribute thing.
Oh, with the Dylan Rose.
For Dylan Rose, yeah.
Dylan Rose,
Dave DeSilva on bass. I don't know who's drummer on. I guess the regular drummer has not been hurt his arm or something. Was having
Keith
some kind of,
Whelan is
Yeah.
the regular drummer.
Yeah.
And he had a drummer injury,
Yeah.
injury,
Yeah.
and he's working his way back from what I understand.
That's what I heard
He's
too.
Really strong
Yeah.
drummer, man.
He is a really good drummer. I always
Yeah.
enjoyed playing with Keith. He's really good and fun to play with, and
Yeah.
you can see by the number of bands that he plays with.
Exactly.
Tyler Logan.
Tyler Logan, the drummer. That
Logan Tyler.
Logan Tyler.
White chocolate phone.
Yeah.
That was fun doing that, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Really
that
fun
band.
you guys.
That band was killer.
That
That was fun.
Do you guys know how I got in that? So
No.
Rick knew these guys before I did, but it was Jason and Logan and Korn. And these guys, I guess they were recording with Rick or playing with Rick over at Rick's house or something. And they said, "Hey, can we come over and rehearse in your room?" So that's the room we're in right now. And I said, "Sure." And when they came over, I was like, "I'm turning on a keyboard just in case." Like I wasn't thinking I'm playing with them. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm turning on a keyboard just in case. And then they started playing, and I'm like, I need to play with this group.
Yeah.
And so I started playing keyboard, and they looked at me like, "That's cool." And next thing I know, I'm in the group.
You're in.
You're in.
You're in, man.
Oh,
We're playing in Oakland tonight.
Great gig, man. We're playing in 3 bands.
That's what Jason would do. I got some gigs up in Tahoe.
I'll tell you what they
We're
were.
going to Oregon. You know?
Jason had good gigs, but we never made any money. But I'll tell you what we were, and what's cool, audacious. Every
Audacious.
band I'm in,
Audacious.
I think that describes us. Audacious. We're willing to I'm willing to step there and do that. And
But white chocolate funk.
yeah,
The
if you're
name
gonna call
itself,
yourself
yeah.
white chocolate, you're saying something.
You better be funky and you better be white.
And now, can I ask, were we? We were white and funky.
Yeah.
Well, and you cannot not be funky with, that lineup.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
You just cannot. Not
That's what it is.
yeah.
That's just what it was.
exactly. We
there's
just
no-
tapped into our, the funk part of ourselves. Because, you go back far enough, Gaelic, Celtic, Irish, Germanic, it was all funky.
It's got
man.
the funk.
It's got the funk.
Yeah.
You guys want to take a break? Break number 2?
Sure. That's it.
We'll be right back.
Because we all got them.
We do. We all got them.
We all got them.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
I'll tell you one of mine.
I literally,
Yeah.
literally never told that story. Except you
Really?
guys were
I got a good one.
doing your thing,
Yeah,
So
well, there's been some bad ones and there's been a lot of good ones,
This one was almost bad. A tragedy narrowly averted, I would call this one. So we're going to open.
Are we on?
We're on. And
Cool.
This is part 3 back here with Jim
We're
Griner,
just sharing all
Rick
of our
Hoornbeck, Greg
personal
Brown.
horror stories of gigs.
And Greg's got, let me tell this one real quick. So we're going to open for this band Go Ahead, which is exciting to us because it's 2 guys from the Grateful Dead, 2 guys from Santana, and a guy from the Youngbloods. So we're very, very excited about this opportunity, and it's at the place we normally play, the Country Club. So it seems like it's going to be like a normal gig, and we get to open, and it's very exciting. And it's sold out because Jerry has been in a coma for the last little while, and so there hasn't been any Grateful Dead gigs. So people are very excited, and it's about a month before Jerry is going to play again after coming out of the coma. So there's a lot of optimism, and there's a lot of people there. And what happens is the Grateful Dead show up with a lot of their people. Harry Popick is the stage monitor guy for the Grateful Dead, and he decides he's going to do sound for the night, which is really exciting because our sound guy is going to be one of the guys at Grateful Dead. But he decides the soundboard's not good enough, and he asks for a new soundboard from SIR to get brought in. And it takes hours for him to rewire this thing. And at one point, they think of scrapping my band because there's no more time because the soundboard took forever to get a new soundboard. So my promoter, who's our friend who asked us to be on this and who hired them, he's like, they're going on. So we go on stage, and very exciting because it is a packed crowd, fully exciting, and my amp, which is a Roland Jazz Chorus, like sturdy as hell, it will not turn on, like either direction ground, and it shocks me through it, like ah! And this is like we're going 4, 3, 2, 1. The band's playing. We're playing Fire on the Mountain, and my shit's not working, and so I'm freaking out, and it's shocking me. And finally, it's fixed, and I go up and I'm playing Fire on the Mountain with them, but it was fucking scary, and it was of the moment. But it all came through, and it all happened, and the crowd really liked us. And at the end of that Fire on the Mountain, there was like a huge cheers, and it was all good. And then we got to meet the guys, and everything worked out. But it could have gone a very different route. You guys got one of those?
Tragedy narrowly averted.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and fundamentally, you just got to keep playing.
Yeah.
I've done shows where the power went out.
Yeah.
Guess who keeps playing?
Yeah.
The drum set player and the percussionist.
Yeah.
Did it happen to you in Santa Cruz
Oh man.
or somewhere else?
Oh, it's several times in other places. I don't think it's ever happened in Santa Cruz. I can't remember it anyway.
It happened with Greenlight one night in Santa Cruz. This band I was in with Matt Lazarus. We were playing. It's the place that's upstairs downtown. I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
Attic?
Red Room.
The attic?
No.
No, it's middle of the town. It's
Attic?
No, it's like the Irish bar.
Rosie McCann's.
Rosie McCann's. So
Yeah.
we're in Rosie McCann's, and we're playing, and the power goes out all downtown. And I had a keyboard that ran on batteries. And so I just put on the cheesy music from my keyboard, hit play, and we all pretended to dance to it. It was really kind of cheesy but funny. Do you remember I used to do this thing like dun 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 dun?
Yeah, yeah,
That keyboard had that sound. I was like,
fan-
people
the
would be
fanfare.
talking, and I want to give Jim Griner an award, and I'd be bump ba bump 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 bump.
Yeah, the fanfare.
Yeah, fanfare sound.
Yeah, it's a crazy life, man. You know,
Yeah.
The excitement, the trials, the tribulations, you know.
Yeah, well, when I first came to Santa Cruz in the early '80s, you know, there was the whole I don't know, some of the bands are around the Batteries and the Call, and
Humans.
the Humans,
Yeah.
yeah. Where were some of the other ones? There was a bunch of punk bands around and,
Right.
and stuff.
That
and
was right.
That was the big thing, but there was a whole scene. You know, I mean, there was totally the whole scene. The big Catalyst was really kicking, and there was a lot of stuff happening. We used to have the Wednesday night dollar night or something there, and when they would have a couple local bands, and then somebody else that that was more regionally known or
Right.
you know. So,
Oh, the Cat was rocking, man.
Yeah,
I
they-
saw Tina Turner at the Cat.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And I was up in the balcony on the right-hand side as you're facing the stage, 30 feet from her. And the whole buzz was, this was just when Thunderdome came out and Private Dancer came out. And she
Was rejuvenated.
hit, yeah,
Big.
man. And so the buzz was kind of like, oh, she's going to cancel, man. She's no way she's going to do Catalyst in Santa Cruz, man. She's a big star now. She did the Catalyst, man.
Nice.
She did
She
the
did,
Catalyst. She started with this wicker chair,
We
turned
don't need
backwards,
another
sitting, facing the audience,
hero.
leaning on the front of the chair, and started Private Dancer, man. And then she tossed that chair 20 feet in the air to backstage, and the roadie caught it, and then she just rocked, man.
That's cool.
It was amazing. Yeah, that was inspirational. Like, she didn't have to do it. She could have got out, man, but she did it.
Yeah. We were lucky because we were in between LA and San Francisco.
Right.
And, it was a good stop on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night. You know, we used to have a lot of good bands.
I totally
through
think
there.
that's Santa
Exactly,
Cruz.
yeah.
That's Santa Cruz.
Yeah, they'd be on the road. They're spending money on the road, so they got another gig, and it's a receptive crowd. And the old Cat, it held about 820 people or so in the back room. That was cool. Plus, it was a fun place to play.
At the Rio, I went to this thing called Moogfest, and Robert Moog.
Yeah,
So there was a film
classic.
about him, and he was in San Francisco, and the guys were able to talk him into coming down to Santa Cruz, and he spoke to us, and he played the theremin for us, and we watched the movie together, and then he answered questions about it. I mean, it was amazing. And then they drove the guy back to San Francisco. I mean, that's how cool it is to be in this proximity to that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Halfway between, well, not halfway, but between LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
Two
got-
major stops.
Well,
You
how many-
guys would come in on a weekday night when
If you got an
normally you'd
open
be
date.
out there spending money and not making any money.
Take
Right.
the money.
I remember how many times has Neil Young called the Catalyst and said, he's put his road
The
band
Ducks.
together, and the Ducks or whatever. He would come down to Catalyst and practice with his band for.
We saw him my
before they
first
went
year.
on tour or something. You know.
My first year, we saw that. Neil Young at the Catalyst. Ned was there, and my girlfriend was there at the time, and it was amazing. And he played like 3 sets, and then they did like 3-song encore that lasted forever.
Wow.
And,
Yeah.
and it was like very much the live rockin' band of Neil. It was very rockin'. It was a super good show. And like small Catalyst show, they only let so many people in, $20 a ticket.
Right.
Yeah, it was a nice. I don't know if they have any shows. Are they going to have shows there again? I know they
Yes.
moved into the atrium and stuff. Had all the atrium stuff going, but that was kind of sucky
Well,
Yeah, it was
as compared to the big room.
I hate
you
to
know?
deliver this news to you, but hip hop and rap are what the kids love.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And but there's a lot of other
And
stuff.
I'm not
out there,
saying
too.
I
mean,
don't. There's always going to be a lot of kinds of music, and we can always be the other
Mm-hmm.
kinds of music too. But I'm just saying, like 90%. If you want to know what's popular now, it's not rock as much as it's the rap
Yeah.
and hip hop.
Right.
But still, they could
That's
still
more-
put on big shows. They had
They
Snoop
know
Dogg and people like
crazy-
that played there.
And my kids love that, and they're ready for those guys to go on tour, and they're just that age like 13 that they want,
No,
you know?
yeah.
Who makes money when a bunch of 13-year-olds want to go see you?
Yeah.
And you know what, Snoop, none of these guys are young. We all grew up with them a long time ago, 20 years ago. My students don't know him from 20 years ago. They just know him right now.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're like,
New.
hey, that's pretty
They're
cool.
happening.
You know what I
Yeah.
told them today? Snoop plays in our town almost every year at the Catalyst. They're like, really? I said, yeah, but you got to be 18 or 21. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Snoop plays the Catalyst
Really?
all
Yeah.
the time.
That's some cool people coming to the Cat, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, heck yeah.
You know what I heard about him? He doesn't hang out in the green room. He goes from the bus to the stage to the bus.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
He has a pretty nice bus, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
And he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best
Play
place?
it, dude.
What did you guys ever play the Catalyst?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the big stage?
Yeah. Yeah. I played there a number of times, actually, you know. Played a couple of Wednesday nights, like I was saying, the old dollar night thing down there.
Cool.
Played, opened show for Johnny Winter down there.
That's great.
That was cool. It was always a fun stage to play on, for sure. It's nice and big, you're way up high, you know.
Very fun, man.
I remember playing.
sound,
I remember playing in the atrium, but you know, I don't want to diss food at any place.
I've played in every room of the Catalyst, let me tell you.
Every room. Have you?
I played upstairs in the little corner at the top of the stairs there. I played in the atrium, I played in the big room, and I played over by where the pool tables used to be. So I don't know if there's any other place to play in.
If there is, they'll find it.
Pizza window.
Bathroom, maybe. You know.
What? You ain't played the bathroom yet?
I played there a bunch of times
Yeah.
on the main stage, and fortunate to headline, you know, the regional band circuit, like Max Strom back in the early '80s,
Yeah.
Cosono, the
Yeah.
Afrobeat band with
Yeah.
Danjuma Adamo.
That was a tour,
It was a circuit.
a circuit.
So we weren't on the road all the time, but you'd go play one, and then you'd have a week off, and then you go play another, and it was about.
Did you ever
7,
work
8
with?
places.
Did you ever work or play with Olatunji?
I did play with Babatunde Olatunji. Yeah, in fact, I played with his band, Drums of Passion band, probably 7 or 8 times,
Really?
but as a just sitting in.
Wow.
When I'd be on the East Coast, one of the first things I'd do is call Baba and his folks and say, "Hey, I'm out here. If you got a gig, you know, I'm there." And he'd be always like, "Yeah, Jim, come play with us."
He was
That's
always
so cool.
Always
So,
cool.
and one of my most monumental, powerful musical moments was playing with Baba once. It was about 3 years before he died, and he was very frail, so he had help bring him on stage, help us bring him. And then he'd stand behind his giant ngoma drum, which is usually he played with a curved stick and in one hand. So he'd hit it with the stick and then muffle it with the hand. Just amazing stuff. And then he'd sing, of course. Mostly he'd stand back there with his big Baba smile beaming at everybody. So one time, let's say about 3 years before he died, we were playing upstate New York at a town called Middleton. And it was a big hall, about 3,000 people. And the band, 15 people, you know, half of whom were percussionists. We were just grooving, man. We were just pumping it out, and it looked like the band and the hall and the people and the walls and the ceiling were just pulsating in time to this groove.
The drums of passion, right?
Drums of passion, man. And I had this momentary flash of, man, it just does not get any better than this. Music simply doesn't get any better than this. I don't know what I was thinking, but, you know, I try to let that go because that's just chatter.
That's what you were thinking.
That's what I was thinking. And then I looked over at Baba, and I noticed he hadn't played a note in probably 10 minutes. And these are, you know, long percussion jams. I thought, oh, I hope he's okay. But he looked great, had this big Baba smile beaming at everybody. I thought, oh, he's cool. So just let all that go, and that was just like a flash. Then I had that same flash of, it just does not get any better than this, man. And all of a sudden, boom! Out of nowhere, Baba hit his ngoma drum one time. And everything went, and it got better.
It was better.
It got better, deeper, broader, flowing more, pulsating. You know, and that's just me, my ego thing, you know, human thing going, oh, it's better. Well, it's just what it was, but I noticed it more probably.
Yeah.
You know? And I later, I mean, I could not stop thinking about that moment, and then I just kept thinking about, you know, Baba, his frail. He used to be able to play all the notes, everything perfect, beautiful, funky, everything flowing, but he couldn't anymore. So he kept the one note that really mattered, and he hit it not only in the right place, but in the right way, the right amount of force and intention and joy and love, and it got better.
You know, I think
that's
on that
amazing.
message, Jim,
Yes.
I was going to ask if you had a concluding message that you wanted to, but I think that kind of is it right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you're right.
What would you say? Joy? Say it again. Does it joy makes everything better?
I'm sure somebody said that. Sounds good to me, man.
Greg said it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
It wasn't what Jim said.
And serve the groove. Oh, and you know, as a musician, my mission is community service.
All right.
You know, it started back around, gathering around the fire tens of thousands of years ago, when we just danced and chanted and did things. And
That's a good way to put it.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Top of the Bay podcast. That was Jim Griner, Leroy, Rick Hoornbeck, and Greg Brown. We want to thank you for joining us again. Stay tuned for the next Top of the Bay podcast, Santa Cruz, California.